May 10th, 2025. Well, I'm going to address two basic topics in this video, and although they may at first seem separate, I think they may kind of come together in the end. The first one, of course, is the tariff deal that President Trump has negotiated with the British government or the UK, and this is the first of several deals he's working on, obviously. And I would say perhaps for the major countries, I think some of the minor countries maybe a deal could have been made, but I think everybody wanted to wait for the first deal. And of course, Britain is a significant country; it has a significant GDP, and so this deal was kind of may set a precedent for what might occur uh, in the future, at least for countries that have fairly strong and friendly relationships with the U.S. And I believe that Trump does have a property in the UK as well. So you got to be careful. At any rate, I think the UK works very closely with the United States on so many things, and the intelligence sharing and the Five Eyes is very great. If you look at the Five Eyes, I mean, it's basically the United States and Britain, and then, well, Canada and Australia and New Zealand. And what do those others have in common? Well, they're Commonwealth countries. So, and let's face it, the UK is the only country that we sell our most powerful strategic weapon to, the Trident II missile. Okay, so the relationship is very close, and I think and also in terms of balance of payments deficits, they were not a major offender. But note, even Britain gets a 10% ongoing tariff. But they're agreeing to buy, was it $10 billion worth of Boeing aircraft for the airlines, and they got a deal where they're going to, make things easy for up to 100,000 vehicles so that people that want to buy Rolls Royce and Range Rovers can do it without being too badly tariffed and so forth. There's a variety. The whole details are still being kind of ironed out, but that one would be one that was probably easy, and it would probably set a precedent maybe for other countries that have a very close relationship. On the other hand, I guess for China, it may not be as good, huh? And so that's kind of the situation there. By the way, if you like these videos, please give me a like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. And you can also follow me on Rumble at the address in the description below. And by the way, yeah, I did get a new follower. I appreciate that. And by the way, we need to get more people following me. Come on. I only need 6 more to get to 100, and supposedly something good is supposed to happen then. So please go ahead and follow, and it'll help out with the videos and all. Yeah, so that's kind of the way that one goes. Now we're still waiting for others. Countries we're kind of really interested in, I think, are Japan and South Korea. I think are two that are very important also, and that they're friendly countries, but they have a bigger, I think, balance of payments issue, which seems to be a big bugaboo with Trump. So we'll have to see how that all goes. And of course, this leads into, of course, the negotiations that'll be going on during the time this uh, I'll be promoting this video, and that is our negotiations with China and Switzerland. And going into this, I don't expect a whole lot from it. I noticed the market moved up on the British announcement, but you didn't see a whole lot as we're going into this one that's coming up. And I think this is going to be far more contentious, and I think we're a lot further away from a deal. Um, I think China is going to be a little bit like Trump's experience with the negotiating the end of the Ukraine war. I think that's going to be a little bit problematic, and we can get into it. And of course, that kind of moves into my second topic, which of course is Victory Day, which was it will be for the people seeing this video will be yesterday and or 2 or 3 days earlier, and that is. Of course, the celebration of the end of the Second World War, and Russia's participating in it. I understand that Trump and Putin have a little dispute over who really won the war. Well, let's don't get into that one right now. I think historically we know that. I guess it's a real question. If the United States had not entered the war, uh, would Germany have or Russia have won? I think it best, Germany might have ended up with a stalemate. I don't think they would have won. But at any rate, but that's not the main topic here. The thing that was an issue was that would Ukraine try to crash the party by launching a big drone attack on Moscow during the parade and so forth? And of course they didn't. They did do a bunch of other drone raids before it, but I think the presence of President Xi of China, I think, was probably, if alone, was probably enough to kind of dissuade them against that, because they probably hope in their rebuilding that they'll get some investment from China, probably, as well as our mineral deal, of course, where they can get money from that, depending on just how many minerals they have and who's holding the land the minerals are in. Um, but I think the key thing is this seems to indicate a very close relationship between Russia and China is being built stronger. At least that's what you would think that would mean for him coming to that event and celebration. Of course, I noticed that there was contingents from a variety of countries, many of which were the breakaway former Soviet republics, the ones that aren't upset with them as much as Ukraine is. And then there was also a Chinese delegation there, so from the People's Liberation Army, so they participated in the parade too. And I don't want to waste too much time on the parade, but the point is, I think this does indicate a closeness in the relationship between China and Russia. And to me, doing it at this time, with the trade deal in play and with the war in play and with the difficulty Trump is having getting either party, but I guess they're blaming Russia now more because it looks to like it's a message to the United States that maybe they're going to stick with Russia if things get a little uh, heated, they might say. And of course there is so the situation is on the deal with China. Of course, we got this massive a tariff of 145%, which is basically an embargo. And the question is, what kind of a deal are we willing to make, and can we make to meet the needs that we have? Because we didn't have that big of a beef with Britain, really. But with China, there's a big beef. We don't like a lot of things they're doing. The fentanyl, the whole issue of stealing our intellectual properties, the I guess currency manipulations to keep their products more affordable, and so forth, and the balance of payments deficit is just massive compared to the other countries. So, what are we really demanding that China starts buying large amounts of U.S. products and goods? Certainly, agricultural is an area that would be. I'm sure that they might want to buy some of those chips that we've put kind of a no sale order on. Let's call it. Those really high quality AI chips. Apparently, we put a ban on them being sold to China. Well, I mean that's probably one of the things they want to buy, and we're not selling them. So, and is it likely they'll buy enough agricultural products to make up for all the many things that they sell to us? And that's the question I have. The other question is that's brewing at both with Trump to some extent, but maybe even bigger in Congress, is this idea of putting what's called secondary sanctions on Russia over the war with Ukraine, because since the negotiations for peace have not proceeded as might have been fantasized, I think it was a fantasy, and then it looks like that they will try to ban countries from buying Russian petroleum products. Well, that's one of the main things that China buys from Russia. I think they buy like 47% of their exports. Now, and these tariffs are supposed to be really draconian. I've heard like 500% if they're fully imposed or something like this. I don't know whether this is going to be mandatory or whether Trump will have discretion. But remember, with no peace deal in sight, Trump is going to be under increasing pressure from both the Democrats and the hawks in the Republican Party to do something. Does he really want to go back to the Biden policy of another $60 billion a year of weapons to Ukraine? Does that fit into the budget we want? We got a $30 billion fix our own air traffic control system that just came up, and at the same time, we're trying to cut the budget by, at least $500 billion, and still get all those tax cuts in. And which, so what I'm getting to is, and if China is faced with this, which way do they go? Is it like a coin toss? Do they go with the United States for sales under a pretty adverse trade deal? I mean, even the trade deal with Britain has put a 10% tariff on most of the products, not all, but not engines from Rolls-Royce or something, but most of the products coming in are going to have a tariff on them. Well, I mean, at some point, if we insist on, say, well, I don't know, 30% tariff on everything from China, plus you can't buy oil from Russia, they might just say, "Yeah, forget it." And if they do, all of a sudden, the Walmart shelves are probably going to be going bare pretty quickly. Not totally, but there's so much products from China that we buy for all kind of small items, particularly. I understand the iPhones we buy are mostly now made in India. So, but as an example, so that will, and I say, I think under that kind of pressure, India probably will cave. I think maybe, but probably, but China maybe not. They may be rather they might rather fight than switch, and if they do, that this may lead into a war where they finally go ahead and say, let's go ahead and put the squeeze on Taiwan now because there's never going to be a better time. I think that's a possibility. So, but at any rate, so that's the big decision that's coming up, and we'll have to see. Or could, even if no export of oil from Russia occurs at all, could they still go ahead with their internal, just go ahead and pursue the war anyhow in spite of all that? Or will there be, let's say, clandestine sales that they deny they're doing it, but they're doing it, we know they're doing it, and then what do we do? Especially if we're trying to get a trade deal. You see, the two are working against each other. So at any rate, that's what I have for you in this video, and I hope it's beneficial. And by the way, you can follow me, of course, particularly on X between videos, and I'll be posting this on YouTube and Rumble, and the address of my social media accounts are listed in the description below. All for now.